Hey y'all, welcome back. I'm Shayna Cersei. I'm so excited to paint with you today. Yesterday we did the lighthouse, and then today we are going to do another journal entry in our watercolor journals, and I'm going to do some little glass jars or vases. I used to paint these all the time. Again, when I did those simple flowers that we did in the very beginning of this journal, and put little simple flowers in them. But I'm going to paint some glass. I'm going to show you how to paint some simple, illustrative, kind of loose glass. Not hyper realistic, but definitely gives you a sense of lights, the highlights, the shadows, and the medium values in a piece of glass. So first I'm going to draw out some vessels or containers, so some little vases. So I'm just going to do one where, oh, and I'm trying a different angle here, as you might notice. So I've angled the camera a little bit so you can see more of my palette, as well as somewhat of a side view of how I'm painting. So that way you can see more. My hand doesn't cover stuff up. But if you all hate it, just let me know in the comments. It's okay to try out new things and for them not to be successful. And then you've tried it and you know. So I'm going to draw out just some little like bud vases, I think. So I'm going to start with just a rounded off rectangle at the top, and then I'm going to give it a neck. So basically the neck, again, you can turn anything into kind of simple shapes. So you can make this a rectangle, and then you can put another rectangle below. And if you can draw a rectangle, then you can get fancy with the rounded off curves, and it's easier to make things symmetrical. See how I did that there? And then I can kind of round off the shoulders and then round off the bottom however you'd like. You can make it more dramatic towards the bottom. And then you just erase the edges around it. And you can make kind of any shape little vessels that you want. They can be more squared off little bottles like this. So I did one like that, and then I'm going to do, and it's going to have, and I'm also going to do maybe one that's just a little more rounded. So kind of a bulb at the bottom. And then we'll give it that neck. You can, again, make it rectangular and then refine it. And a little top as well. And again, any shapes that you want. They can be more of a cup shape or a fluted vase shape. But these are just kind of little, what are they called? Like bud vases. This one is just a little wonky to me. The neck is a little too far this way, so I'm just going to fix this corner and have these slope down a little bit more. All right, now the important part with this is I definitely want to lighten up my lines quite a bit. Now you've seen where I'm going, but I really want to lighten these lines up. I don't have my kneaded eraser handy. I'm going to use just my little Prismacolor white eraser here. This eraser I honestly use mostly for taking off masking fluid. Works wonders. All right, so you can see when I erase with this kind of eraser versus a kneaded eraser, I get all these little crumbs and bits on there that you then have to wipe off, and those can actually leave like marks on the page as well. That's another reason why kneaded erasers are so amazing. But I cannot find mine, so in a pinch, and because this is just a journal page. All right, so I have really nice light lines to work with. So let's pick some colors. I'm going to start with some phthalo blue. And I am going to make sure that when I pull out my paints and when I start to paint this, I'm going to, the white of the page is going to be a value. I'm going to try to leave things very light, but I want to be able to have, and I'll put it here, like a light value. Okay, something that's really light, a medium value in my glass, and then also there'll be some spots with the darkest value. So I want to have at least kind of 3 values that are going to be visible, and I'll show you when we get painting. So this is going to be some blue kind of glass. So the first thing, let's see, I'm going to do, I haven't painted these in a long time, but I am going to start around the edges with this kind of medium to light value. And I'm just going to kind of swoop my way down. And I'm going to leave some white spots. See how I do that? Leaving some white spots for highlights. I'm going to leave some highlights around the neck or the rounded parts. And then I'm just going to grade this all out. And I'm going to be adding lots of different layers with this and using wet on wet to kind of create more highlights and more medium values. So you can see here I have lots of highlights that I've left on there and lots of medium values. And these are fun. You can just paint a bunch of them and just play with it and play with the light. Now I'm going to drop in some slightly darker color. And the darkest colors I find, now it can be different, but they tend to be along the edges where the glass is curving away from you. There's areas where it's curved or rounded, so like it kind of rounds around here, around the neck, kind of goes in this way and back out. There's usually a highlight next to a dark value. I'm also going to paint the lip of the vase here. But try not to get too outliney. And just dropping in some more darker color. And now around the base or the bottom, where it sits on the table, usually there is a darker, it's thicker at the bottom where the glass kind of comes together. I didn't do this one very well. It should be a little flatter on this one because of the perspective, but that's okay, because I'm just gonna blend it out a little bit. And then I'm going to take just a little, like right along the bottom. There, that's a little better. That's looking fun and good. Drop in a few more spots. And then I'm going to let it dry, and you can always reassess to see if there's anywhere you need to put some more color on. So that looks like a fun little glass vessel. And then if you put things in it, I can show you that maybe on this next one after I finish it. So let's do a slightly different color. Well, we can do Payne's Gray. Do we want to do, so like, oh, clear glass, or, well, let's keep it fun. Let's do another color. What about this Viridian color, like a green? Or let me see. See what green. So we have this yellow green, but that's super kind of not really. Or the Viridian. I think we're going to go with like Viridian and sap green mixed together to make like a green glass. Just going to mix all these greens together right now. But I want it to be a little bit cooler, kind of like that. I'm trying to think. I feel like my grandmother had a ton of green glass, and there was like a particular product that came in green glass bottles, like Heineken, which is a beer. But I feel like there was something else. Anyway. Bunch of that out. All right, so we have this nice green. Again, I'm going to start a little lighter than that, starting with my darkest value. I kind of put my paint down, and as I'm kind of working with the curves here, making sure the highlights generally follow the curve of the vessel, especially if it's kind of rounded. So leaving lots of little highlights, just painting these medium to light values. Do the lip, the rim of the glass here. And then once you get that first layer down and you kind of figure out where most of your highlights are going to be, that's when you're going to come back and drop in your darker colors. In some of the areas around the curved areas, the neck. You can throw some in the middle. I don't know that I'm explaining this very well. This is very intuitive painting to me. I just paint it till it looks good, till it reminds me of glass. Paint, that's my instruction. So you all paint it until it reminds you of glass. And if you've gone too far, just start over. So definitely under the kind of the bottom edge of the lip there. Oh, there's a big glare on that for you, but it will, there you go. You can see it a little better now. All right. And then I'm even going to throw in, so I have some green with Payne's Gray over here. That was just sitting here. I'm going to throw a little bit of that in there in a few spots just to create like a really dark value. And we'll see how we feel about that. Kind of right along the bottom. But everything is wet, so nothing is a harsh line. It's all diffusing out. A little bit right across the top, I think. But leave that highlight there. All right, so I'm going to let those dry. And then maybe we'll put, well, this one is dry, so we'll work on this one. I'm going to put a little, maybe a rosebud in there like we did last time. So we did rosebuds a few videos back, so I'm just going to do those again, just little. And I'm actually doing the buds first. I can't remember in the video if I did the stems first or the buds, but I'm doing the buds first this time. No, I think I did the buds first in the video. So just a few simple. And then I'm going to take my green. Oh, good. I already have some green made up. And I'm going to bring them kind of right down the stems. All right, so not my best rosebud ever, but I have to add like one or two more there. And maybe some leaves. I'm running into my swatches up in the corner here. All right, so watch the other video for better versions of rosebuds. But I just want to show you when you're painting something and it's going inside, like it doesn't disappear. If it's glass, you can actually see it. But whatever's inside should be a slightly lighter value than the version of the outside. So if I painted this darker green stem in here, on the inside, it should be a little bit lighter, and it could also be wet on wet, so it could be diffused and a little bit messed up, you know, like not perfectly sharp, a little diffused. So if everything is already dry, you can just run some water kind of next to your stem. So let it diffuse out a little bit. And then we'll put another one kind of this way. Because everything gets warped a little bit when you see it like inside or through something. And you can see I kind of skipped the rim of the glass here where it's the thickest. I'll put a little bit darker blue there. And you can go back and do another layer. I shouldn't have done it after I put the stems in, but I'm adding even more now. Like right along the edge here. And y'all, I'm basically ruining this glass. It was beautiful before. I don't know why I added more. But that's okay. That's why we play. And we make our mistakes here, and we make our discoveries here in our journals. All right, I guess it's not ruined. It still looks okay, but I could have definitely stopped before. All right, so that is how I paint these little glass bud vases. They're so much fun. You can do all different colors, and you don't have to look at anything from real life to just know you need highlights, you need shadows or really dark areas and medium values, and they just need to play with the shape of the glass. So they need to work within the shape of the glass, kind of emphasizing or accentuating it. And you will get something that resembles glass and see-through. So I hope this was fun and helpful. I love painting these. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you again for another watercolor journal idea video tomorrow. All right, take care, y'all.